Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Danny again. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, thanks for returning. At this moment, it's early in the morning. The kiddos are still asleep. So it's a bit dark in the house, kinda don't really have much lighting. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I can't wake these kids up. Not too early. Anywho, the youngest baby girl does have a doctor's appointment this morning, and then a little bit later, I was going to try to go to work to do maybe about 3 hours today. What I wanted to do in this video was talk about something that I kind of pretty much took the time out to like evaluate. And so, what I evaluated, I was just thinking in my head, and I was like, when was I actually introduced to like the credit card world or, the credit world? And pretty much when did I start sinking into debt? So while we go through this here journey, this story right now, I'm going to be like preparing my breakfast. I haven't ate breakfast yet. And then I'm also going to prepare a little quick snack to take to work for today. So to get started, I don't know if I told you guys, which I'm pretty sure I have in the previous video. I was a teenage mom. I had just turned 18 when I had my oldest son. I had just graduated high school. I ended up very shortly after that being a single mom. So prior to getting pregnant, I was really big on like saving money. Now around this time, I had no idea about like credit cards, debt, things of that nature. I had no idea about it. So I was really big on like saving money. Oh, I see something that I want. Oh, it costs this much. I'm gonna save up for it. I was really big on that. I had a job at a fast food restaurant, and like the summer of the summer of going into my 12th grade year, I did like a lot of hours because at that time I was eyeing this car, my first car that I wanted. My mom off rip told me, she didn't have the funds to pay for a car. My dad was like, "Oh, I'm planning to get you a car, but I'm waiting until you graduate." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, none of those options are going to work because right now I'm trying to work. I'm trying to save up money. I have to buy my own clothes and just things of that nature, right?" So I remember me saving up money and working a lot, and I saved up enough money for a down payment on my first car. It was at like a buy here, pay here place, so they didn't run credit. Only thing my mom literally had to do was sign on the dotted line, um, produce the car insurance that she had placed the car into. And then she utilized like my child support money to pay my car insurance. Other than that, I was paying my own car note. And like I said, I had saved up enough money to pay the down payment, and then I had also saved up enough money to like get me 5 months ahead in the car note payments as well. So I remember just I was like that. Like I was like, oh, okay, I was real big on calculating like how many hours I needed to try to work, how much I needed to try to put aside to have the car paid off within like a couple of months. And just things of that nature. So I ended up paying off the car maybe like a year later. The car was only like $4,000. Well, a little over four. And I remember fully paying off the car. And so when I ended up, pregnant, when I got pregnant and stuff like of that nature, I ended up getting into my own apartment maybe at about 19. Because then I had was able to secure a job in the housekeeping department at the hospital. And I did housekeeping for about 6 months. Now around this time, me and my son, we had our own apartment. I was paying for his daycare, which I was getting some assistance with daycare because I wasn't making that much in the housekeeping department. Um, so I was on like a program that was helping with the daycare expenses, but I was paying, whatever was left over that needed to be paid. I paid that portion. I had like a cell phone and just stuff of that nature, right? So I was in no debt, no student loan debt. Now I was trying to still go back to the community college, but because prior to that time, during the time of my pregnancy, I was going through a lot. I know one of my grandmothers had just passed away. And I was just going through a lot emotionally. I was trying to figure out myself. I was going through a lot. That was one of the hardest times. And I was pretty young still, and I really felt like I didn't have any support. It just was a lot during that time. So I wasn't doing well in class, in my classes. So I ended up needing to retake the classes over. So make a long story short, they was like, you was gonna have to start paying out of pocket. I wasn't able to get financial aid anymore, and just things of that nature, right? So then I was like, well, let me look into online school. So I looked into online schools, started doing online schools, which of course, online schools come with student loans. So that's how I got into more of the student loan thing. And then also when I did I'm sorry, and prior to that, when I was going to the community college, the financial aid I felt it wasn't enough to really um really kind of support me and my son at the time. And so that's when I got like a few student loans from the community college as well. So that was my student loan era. Let me see. So then while I was in housekeeping, after housekeeping, 6 months into housekeeping, I then had got this other job. It was still at the hospital, but it was more so behind the desk. So around that time, I started working around a lot of women, and that went into a different experience. So I started working around a bunch of women who was like into perfume, into handbags, which I was into handbags too, but I was like into the Ross, Burlington, City Trends handbags because that was what I could afford. But I started working around these women who was into much more expensive things, and I really didn't evaluate like girl, where you looking at other people? You looking at other people and what they got and this, that, and the third. And now here you go, gonna try to go get what they got. And I did. So I ended up, I remember being at like Best Buy, and I think I was trying to buy I forgot what I was buying, either a tablet or I can't remember what I was buying. And I remember the young lady at the register, she gave me the offer to apply for a credit card. That was my first credit card. She was, she sold me the credit card. You just you apply, then for this tablet, you don't have to pay the full amount today. You just pay whatever, or you just put it on the credit card and then you pay it off. I'm like, oh, okay. Got a credit card in the mail, and I think I had like I want to say I had like a 2,000, maybe a $2,500 balance, I believe. Can't remember exactly, but I want to say that was the balance. And so I was like, oh, I literally got that card, and I think I maxed that card out within like a month on clothes, shoes, bags. Yeah, it was just crazy. So ended up doing that. And then one credit card led to another credit card that led to another credit card. Yeah. So that was the journey for me. So I'm really just sitting back and I take the time out to really like like, acknowledge like the root of the problem, right? So I'm like, where's the root of the problem? Where did this problem even start? So I did do that. And if you're on a debt free journey, if you haven't done so, I suggest you doing that as well, because then from that point, you can really clearly like understand, like, okay, I see how the credit card world and the debt pretty much consumed me. And like right now, what I call it is like I feel like I'm in like quicksand. I feel like I got myself into some sand that is just kind of like keeping me stuck, stuck and sunk and but I do see the light because I do feel like at some point I'm going to be out of that quicksand. That's the way I just like to keep myself motivated some as well. So other than that, I'm gonna let you guys go because I'll be here talking for a very long time. But other than that, yeah, leave some comments. Let me know where you feel like you started at with the credit card world and the debt and just things of that nature. Where do you feel like your initial starting point was, because I feel like we all have an initial starting point. So where do you feel like yours, started off as, and then how did it manage to continue or manage to go as long as it did? Other than that, it was nice chatting with you guys. See you guys later.